Let's put your hands together for Justin Brimmer, who's running for City Council, representing Council District 15, from the towers to the bridge. And he's joined here today with his lovely wife, Misha, and his daughter, Jordan. Yay! Let's give it up! And Jordan's wearing a shirt that says, "I love Daddy." We all love Daddy. So tell us who you are.
Okay. Well, hello everybody. My name is Justin Brimmer. I'm a candidate for Los Angeles City Council for the 15th Council District. That includes Watts, Harbor Gateway, Harbor City, Wilmington, and San Pedro.
So you're no stranger to this big building over here known as City Hall, are you?
Not at all. By trade, I went to UC Berkeley, got my degree in pre-law, and I was the legislative and policy deputy for Janice Hahn before she went to Congress. So a lot of my workings was right in there, making sure that her legislative agenda was empowered and included the young people and the people of our district as she voted every day.
But things are going so well, what would possibly prompt you to run for City Council?
Well, again, I'm running for City Council because our district is suffering what I believe, a state of emergency. 1 in 4 members of our district live in poverty. We have increased fines, fees, and taxes, but our services and city services are decreasing. So I knew that what we needed was a visionary and a leader who had something or a vision that was big enough for everybody. Not only San Pedro, Wilmington, and Harbor City, but also the Harbor Gateway and Watts. So that's why in the title, we have a joint vision from the bridge to the towers. I believe too many young people are, before they even make the decision to decide what they want to be when they grow up, before they even make the decision to even learn how to ride a bike, a lot of them, their lives are being cut short. So I think it's a state of emergency that City Hall needs to make sure they have an ear to, and we make sure we have a leader who's going to get in there and be a fighter for the residents of CD15.
Excellent. You know, behind us is $600 million of crime-fighting building. It's the LAPD headquarters, which kind of serves as a reminder that public safety is a big issue here in the city of Los Angeles. And there are some that would contend that busted up streets contribute to busted up neighborhoods. What are you going to do to make our streets safer for people who walk, ride a bike, take the metro, just need to get around?
Well, one of the things is that I think it's crucial that we have repaved streets. The potholes is a danger to not only bicyclists, but it's a danger to skateboarders, it's a danger to car drivers, and I really think it's a sign of a failing infrastructure. So one of the things that I'm proposing is that how we distribute the miles that get repaved in our city need to be based off of a triage system. Based off of those streets that have the worst or have the most need should be the ones that get repaved. In terms of safety of the police, I believe the police have to depend on the community in order to actually suppress crime. But a lot of it is not a matter of more police officers on the street, but a lot of it can also be solved with economics, because the lack of resources causes some of these individuals to commit those crimes that if they had the resources maybe wouldn't have committed it in the first place. So it goes back to jobs, but it also goes back to community empowerment. We have to make sure we bring those individuals at the forefront to bring their ideas. For example, my brother was driving a bike and a 16-wheeler hit him. He flew up in the air about 30 to 45 feet, bounced on the ground, and thanks to God he survived. But that's a danger. We give them bikes, we give them the opportunity to express themselves and go green, but yet they have to risk their lives to do it. Unacceptable. So one of the things that I propose is making sure that we make this place safe for not only the bicyclists, but we got to make it safe for the skateboarders too.
So speaking of skateboarders, I hear there's a skateboard park in Council District 15 that's kind of on shaky grounds. Is that true?
Yeah. Well, the young people, 60% of our district is under the age of 34. So we have a fairly young demographic. But one of the things we have to understand is that we have to bring them to the forefront and give them something to do. When you decide to have a hobby like biking or skateboarding, you should not have to risk your life in order to enjoy yourself. So one of the things that was proposed is Tony Hawk came to the district and said that I have an idea for a skate park, but a lot of the community is on edge because it's so close to the Watts Towers. But the bottom line is this: it doesn't matter where it is. We need a skate park. We need a skate park in Wilmington. We need a skate park in San Pedro. We need bike lanes all throughout our district, because when you say, I want to go green, when you say, I have a hobby, you shouldn't have to risk your life for it.
Excellent. So joining us on the stage is Glenn Bailey, who is the mayor's representative to the Bicycle Advisory Committee. And every council district has a representative. You then, if you were elected a council member, would have a representative who sits on the advisory committee. We meet with the LAPD, we meet with Caltrans, we meet with City Hall, and what we try to do is bring from the community insight so that we can work together to make our streets work for everybody. So I'm going to turn this mic over to Glenn for just a second, and he's going to talk to you and ask you a question about the bike plan.
Yeah, awesome.
So the bike plan indicates 1,600 miles, but that includes lots of different facilities. Do you have an idea as far as what would be most important to do sooner rather than later that would benefit the most cyclists in terms of getting around in LA and also improving safety?
Well, I was a part of making sure the councilwoman was educated and knew about the bike plan when they voted on it in city council. I think the bike plan is a great plan, but some of the things that we're facing in our district is that our streets and certain parts of our district, like Watts, the streets are too narrow to actually accommodate a bike lane. I believe you have to have at least a requirement of 30 feet of right-of-way for 5 feet worth of bike lane space. And a lot of our streets are too narrow to actually accommodate that. So I think in terms of our district, the bike plan has to be adaptive so that it can accommodate this type of geographic that we have in the 15 council district. And that means that how can we include pedestrians and bicyclists can live or walk and ride on the same sidewalk? How does that work? I know some districts, like in Venice, they have this swervy type design where you allow the pedestrians to have one portion and then you have the bicyclists to have another portion. But again, that's the type of thinking we need in the 15th district, because some of our streets are too narrow to accommodate bicyclists.
So it's a great opportunity for creativity, because you've also got some of the biggest streets. So when you're heading down Western and Vermont through the Gateway, you've got streets where you can play football on the Parkway and still have room to move all the goods up and down the corridor.
Amen.
Then you've got some hills down in San Pedro that just aren't suitable for humans, more like goats and burros.
Well, again, I think that does this. I am committed to making sure our district accommodates the different modes of transportation that allows our residents to move. Again, a lot of our people in our district, they depend on public transportation. We don't have a blue line that goes all the way to San Pedro and connects downtown. We don't have a lot of the dash line is being cut. Certain MTA lines are being combined with other MTA lines. So a lot of it is the dependence on a bike or a skateboard. And I keep saying skateboard because we have a lot of young people who use that as a mode of transportation as well. So we have to be able to have our streets open up, so to speak, but also try to develop these pathways that can bring tourists, because our landscape and terrain is very unique, that can actually accommodate a lot of challenges and depending on skill level. So if you do want to bike up Western and go up those high hills, you need to be able to have that opportunity. If you want to stay low and stay flat and go through the Harbor Gateway, you need that opportunity as well. But we have to market in a way that invites the bicyclists internationally, if not nationally and locally, to come to our district and maybe eat there. Excellent. And that's how we promote district pride and increase those revenues that we need.
Excellent. You know, you mentioned the blue line, and for cyclists, that's a great way to get all the way down to the edge of the continent, as we refer to the
to Long Beach.
Yeah.
It doesn't go to us.
But to get over, you got to come over on Anaheim or one of the large streets like that, which, to be quite honest, those are pretty rough streets to ride on just for the debris alone.
Yeah.
So we've come up with something called the Backbone Bikeway Network, which is continuous streets that will get you everywhere you need to go in the city of LA. So are you willing to work with us on bringing the backbone to life?
In a simple response, yes, because it's necessary. Again, a lot of the folks in our district do not have cars. A lot of the folks in our district have to depend on alternative transportations to get to the places they need to go. But we also, when you think about these, I don't know the details of the backbone, but we need to have water stops where you can get some water, because a lot of the times when you're driving and you're using your bike not just as a fun 2-minute ride, but as a form of transportation, and just like they refuel with gasoline, they need to be able to refuel with the Gatorade or the water or anything that they may need, you know, to keep them going that extra mile or two. So
that's excellent. Behind you, I've got something called the Cyclist's Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
Which is a document that's literally made it around the world. So this was in the London Times, it was in the Wall Street Journal. It originated right here in Los Angeles.